This is the Pawling Farm out at Valley Forge National Park. One of the really special places in the park and one of the least visited parts of Valley Forge National Park. A lot fewer people who come over here across this side of the river. Really important historical farm dating back to the Revolution and the site of one of my favorite trees in the world. I'm down here in Valley Forge National Park near the Schuylkill River along the banks. This is floodplain, this area, so we're going to see a lot of trees that can actually grow in the riparian river corridor, including sycamores, ash leaf maple or box elder, and a lot of river birch. Three really common riverside trees. But I just have to bring you over one of the two plants that are the most troubling when you're out and want to keep yourself intact is this. This is Urtica dioica. These are stinging nettles. They're really remarkable for their sharp sawtooth leaf edge. They look kind of like a mint family member. They have those opposite leaves that mints often do, and there are some spearmints that look sort of similar to this. But if I look a little more closely, I can see that on the stem there are some really visible hairs, and those are urticating. Urticating means stinging. The leaves and the stems are covered with trichomes that are like micro-injecting syringes that actually inject an acid into your skin that burns like crazy and causes a lot of irritation and welts for about 20 to 40 minutes. I can show you what that looks like. I don't think I'm in the mood to sting myself today. Here's a little nymph. Here's a little nymph of a hopper. It's some kind of orthopteran cricket nymph, or it's not a mantis. It's definitely some kind of cricket nymph in the Orthoptera. But I'm not going to sting my arm today because I've done it so many times I have some scarring, but I'll show you what it looks like. I'll show you what happens just moments after stinging besides the screams. What a huge, luxurious patch of nettle this is. And nettle likes wet ground, and so in fact it's enjoying also this area alongside the river that floods pretty regularly and stays pretty damp and moist. So here's a close-up of the underside of the stinging nettle leaves. And what you can see is it looks like they're covered with hairs, or when we look at them close up, they look like hollow tube syringes with a sort of bulb at the base. And those hairs are called trichome. It comes from the Latin tricho, for hair. And in fact, the base of that needle is filled with formic acid. So when we contact those, they actually are able to inject that formic acid under our skin, and that's the source of the painful burn and the irritation. And here's what it looks like when I sting myself on my left forearm. Turning my arm over, I take a stem with some leaves and just brush them over my forearm 3 times. Each time I feel a burn as if something really hot is touching it, and then over the next 5 minutes these large welts actually come up. They almost look like blisters, and it's very painful, and it burns for about 20 to 40 minutes, and then those welts eventually go away. But the needles remain in the skin for some time, and so if you touch it, it can still hurt you in that spot. Huh. Right or left? And of course, the second plant that we really want to be on the lookout for as we walk in the woods is poison ivy. And poison ivy is a cousin, as we said, of mangoes, of cashews, of sumac, of pistachios. So the family is the Anacardiaceae. We call it the sumac family or the cashew family, but this is actually Rhus toxicodendron, and it's a close cousin of sumacs. There are other sumacs that are not as poisonous, but here it is as a little vine growing up. There's a lot of it mixed in here. As I look along with some violets, I can see that 3 leaflets, compound leaf, a trifoliate leaf with 3 leaflets. Sometimes the edges of the leaves are toothed, sometimes not. Sometimes it's really glossy, sometimes not. But the other thing that's really kind of impressive and scary is that it also grows on trees. So here you can see this lush growth of leafy branches. That is all poison ivy. And it also shows us that poison ivy not only flowers, but it fruits. So if I look up here, you can see the berries of the poison ivy. Those turn white and waxy, and they're eaten by birds who spread it really happily from tree to tree. I want you to hear the kingfisher, if you can. There's a belted kingfisher flying back and forth along the river here, and maybe we can get him to fly, and you can hear him sing, you can hear him call. He's right down here in this tree. There he goes. Nice.